Welcome back, guys, to the channel. I hope you're well. Welcome to the first match preview of the season, Chelsea versus West Ham. I'm going to be discussing why I firmly believe that West Ham could go to Stamford Bridge tomorrow and pick up all 3 points. But before we get into it, guys, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're new around this, and especially if you support West Ham. That would be greatly appreciated. We're only a couple of hundred subscribers away from hitting 2,000. Hit the like on the video. Just lets me know and gives me an indication that you want to see more match previews in the future. Now, let's talk about Chelsea versus West Ham and why I believe that we can go into this fixture full of confidence and try and pick up 3 points. Now, Chelsea, firstly, let's talk about their form. They haven't had the best of forms the last couple of games. They lost to Wolves, they've lost to Everton away from home, and there is talk about whether they can actually beat some of the better teams. A lot of their points they've accumulated this season have been teams that have been struggling so far this season, like your West Broms, like your Sheffield Uniteds. So it does, there's a little bit of debate whether they can go to teams that are higher up in the table and actually pick up 3 points. Now, I was a little bit concerned going into this fixture because losing 2 games, I feel like West Ham could be the result of a baptism of fire. Chelsea are going to want to come into this game. They're going to want to try and prove the doubters wrong, that they've only beaten teams that are struggling. They're going to want to come to a good West Ham team, a team that are on form and that have had a good start to the season, and make a statement by beating us 3 or 4-0. Now, I feel like, guys, that we've got to accept that the way this game is going to go, that West Ham are going to have large periods of this game with no or little possession. And that's okay, because I firmly believe what Jose Mourinho said. Possession is overrated in football now. You see Manchester City, you see Chelsea have high possession numbers, but look where they are in the table. Look where Tottenham are in the table with little to no possession. They are 3rd or 4th in the table. So it's what you do with a possession that counts. And this is why I believe West Ham can go to Chelsea and beat them tomorrow, because Chelsea are going to have lots of possession, as they have done for the majority of the games they've had this season. They're going to have possession of the ball in areas of the pitch that West Ham are not going to want Chelsea to have the ball. But what does that leave in return? It leaves space, because what Chelsea do, they like their fullbacks and their wing-backs very high up the pitch to create space for those players like Mount, like Havertz, to try and collect the ball from central areas, like Kovacic, to run from deep areas into the West Ham backline to try and cause problems. But as I said, it leaves space, and this is where I firmly believe that West Ham are at their best, because we've seen so far this season with West Ham is that when we are asked to have a lot of possession or try and break a team down, we struggle to come up with a solution to do that. For example, last week against Crystal Palace, when Crystal Palace went down to 10 men with a Benteke sending off, West Ham were then asked, right, can we try and break this Crystal Palace team down? Last week, our creative players struggled to get on the ball, and especially when that Benteke got sent off, we struggled to come up with questions and solutions in order to break that Crystal Palace team down, in order to get those 3 points. And it's not the first time we've seen it. We've seen it against Fulham. We've seen it against Aston Villa. When we do have possession, we struggle to break teams down who like to play a low block, that like to be compact, that like to frustrate our creative players. But on the other hand, we've seen, like Leeds United, when we won 2-1 like a week or so ago on Friday night, we've seen that Leeds United, again, similar to Chelsea, they like to be high pressing. They like to be a high pressing team. They like to be a team that ask the opposition questions in terms of, can you stop our attack? But as I said, what does that leave? That leaves space for our creative players, because we saw in that first half against Leeds United, Ben Rama was getting a lot of joy. He was drifting into little pockets of space off Matthias Klich, off Calvin Phillips, and then when the Leeds United move broke down, there was a quick transition from our defenders into Ben Rama, and he was then having a lot of joy. He was getting a lot of matchups where it was just 1-to-1. Do you remember when Ben Rama dropped his shoulder, done a couple of step overs in a 1v1 situation against Calvin Phillips? He went past him, and we might see a lot of that against Chelsea, because Chelsea are going to be overly aggressive in possession. They're going to want to try and create chances. But Reece James being out injured, guys, I feel like is the key to this game, because, as I said, Chelsea like to get crosses in the box. You've seen a pattern with big teams like Liverpool, like Chelsea. They love putting crosses into the box, and especially with a big man up top like Giroud, who loves scoring goals against West Ham. I don't actually think he scored against West Ham when he's been at Chelsea. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone in the comment section will let me know. But judging off previous experience at his Arsenal career, he loves scoring goals against West Ham. So Reece James being out injured with knee surgery, whilst I hope he gets better. I'm absolutely buzzing that he is out injured. because he's a big part of this Chelsea team. You'll see a lot of Chelsea's play. They will go to Reece James. He'll get to the byline. He'll put a cross in, or he'll put in a cross from deep areas, just so the opposition are a little bit sitting off. Just allows him a little bit of space to put a cross in. So for me, him being out injured is a big opportunity for West Ham to go and win this game, because Cesar Azpilicueta, I would presume, will come into the team, and whilst he is a very good defensive fullback, Lampard does ask of his fullbacks to get high and wide. So whilst I expect Cesar Azpilicueta to try and do a similar job of Reece James, he's not going to have the quality. He's not going to possess the quality. He just does not possess the quality that Reece James has in the final third in terms of his delivery. So it's going to be a big game for the likes of Ben Rama if he does play. Whether David Moyes changes system or he keeps the same team, because we didn't play that well against Crystal Palace. So it's a big question in terms of what he does go with. But it's going to be a big game for the likes of Jarrod Bowen, for the likes of Ben Rama, to pick up those pockets of space, because that's where West Ham are fantastic in transitions. Like I said, possession is overrated. Leeds United, whilst they had 60% of the ball against West Ham should have won 4-5-1, realistically. The amount of chances that we created with Haller, we hit the post with Balbuena. He had a header that was saved by Mesela. We created a lot of good chances, and that's what it is about. It's what you do with the ball. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity there, I believe, for West Ham to take advantage of the spaces that Chelsea are going to leave, because, as I said, they do get high and wide. Chilwell's going to get high and wide. Cesar Azpilicueta is going to get high and wide to try and create those spaces in the central areas. But then what can we do on the counter attack? Because a lot of crosses are going to come in the box. It's going to be a big game for our centre halves like Ogbonna, like Cresswell, like Balbuena. For me personally, if Balbuena's fit, I would bring him back into the fold and to replace Diop, because I feel like Diop didn't have the greatest game against Crystal Palace, and I understand regarding match sharpness that he hasn't played a lot of football, but neither did Balbuena when he first come into the team. It was well known that David Moyes didn't rate him, and I feel like his opinion has slowly changed on him. And for me, I would get the general back into the squad, because I feel like he's better in the air than Diop, and they do put a lot of crosses, and I feel like Giroud may potentially bully Diop if Diop does start. So for me, Balbuena, I would bring him back in if we start with a 4 at the back, or we maybe bring Beg Johnson and maybe revert to a 5 at the back formation. I do feel like it's going to be a huge game for the centre halves. We're going to win a lot of balls in the air, hopefully. And whilst we win a lot of balls in the air, that's an opportunity for the likes of Declan Rice, for the likes of Thomas Souček to win those second balls, to break up play, so that we can pass the ball into those dangerous pockets of space that hopefully will be left when Chelsea are very, very adventurous. It's going to be a difficult game, guys, but I do firmly believe it's a game that kind of suits us. As I said, West Ham, I feel like right now we are best when we are sort of sitting a little bit deeper and we are counter-attacking teams. I feel like, the Manchester United game, we have to be ruthless, guys. If we're going to pick up anything, from this game, we have to be ruthless. We should have beat Manchester United. They come back and beat us 3-1, but that game should have been done and dusted before it even got to half-time. We should have been 3 or 4-0 up at half-time, even the early stage of the second half, before Man United got their first goal. We should have been 2 or 3-0 up. So it's important that West Ham, when we do get presented with these opportunities, because I do believe these opportunities will come, we have to be much better in our decision making, because I do feel like at times this season our decision making has held us back a little bit, like the Liverpool away game, when Fornal should have pulled the ball back for Bowen, and if Bowen scores, we would be 2-1 up at Anfield, and we probably come away from that game with at least a point rather than a defeat. And like against Manchester United, with the correct decision making at the right time, if we can make those better decisions in front of goal, I do believe that we can get at this Chelsea team and we can win this game. But guys, it is going to be a difficult game. I'm hoping we can at least take a point. I'll take a point right now. Because Chelsea, they are a very good team. They've got a bundle of talent. They've spent 200 million in the summer on Havertz, on Chilwell, on Ziyech, on Werner. They've got a lot of talent at their disposal. But West Ham, I'm just confident. Now Reece James is out, I'm confident, because I wasn't really confident going into this game, but Reece James, whilst he is a defender, he's a huge way of how this Chelsea team play. And whilst Cesar Azpilicueta is a very good defensive fullback, I do believe that he isn't as good going forward. He doesn't possess the quality that Reece James does. But it's how we turn over possession is how we win this game. If we are decisive in the way we pick our decisions and picking the right decisions, we have to do that in order to win this game. So guys, that is going to be the end of the match preview. Let me know if I should carry on with these match previews for every fixture. We have games coming up thick and fast. So let me know, guys, in the comment section down below. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel. Support West Ham. That would be greatly appreciated. We're only a couple of 100 subscribers away from hitting 200, from hitting 2,000. So that would be greatly appreciated. Catch you next video, guys. See you later.